After watching Omegahorn episode 2, I was really impressed by the elegance behind the design choices they've made here. Full disclosure, I did not watch more than the first episode of Go On Infinity, so I didn't know. I don't have context to contrast that show with this show. All I know is what I've seen from Super Sentai over the years. The one episode of Go On Infinity I saw, um, classic Go On that I've seen an episode or two of, and now this. The way that the Omega Horns and the Ergo gears, I believe is what they're called. I was calling them Arrow, but I think it's Ergo gears, work is so fascinating to me. And I don't know. Well, no, no, no. I kind of detected this. This is what was going to happen a little bit in the first episode when we got to see the duel between the fish girl and the mace guy. They both use their megaphones and their ergo gears to like empower their weapons, and something special happened to their weapons when they did that. That was nothing compared to what we got to see this scammer guy do. Um, the ability, the level of ability that this guy was able to unlock was incredible, and all the guy's wearing is a goofy pair of glasses, and I think he's just wearing a goofy pair of glasses because he is using them for his appraisal stuff. He's not even, they're not like part of his gear. He's got the megaphone, he's got the ergo gear together. That's what gives him all the power he needs, and he gets these manifested these shield things that he uses, and he gestures with them and does all sorts of weird stuff to make it happen. It doesn't really make sense, but it works. It feels good. It on a visual sense, on a visual level alone, it works. Kind of like how when they moved from the cockpits of the Megazords where they're using controls and pulling switches and stuff to the one where they're just in a room gesturing and things like that. Um, it's the same principle, but without having to design a set. You just give a guy some stuff to hold or not, and then things happen. You do have to do some sort of special effects as well, but you were doing them anyway, so why not? Why not do that? What was really impressive to me, what had the biggest punch, is that we got to see in episode one by himself and using no other power than the suit that he made. Um, Shout was able to do okay against Dokaku, the dog. I don't remember if it was when it split into twins that he decided to change strategies and switch in Enkaku, or what happened. But in this episode, he starts the fight against this normal guy, and I was expecting, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for this. They showed it in the eye catch, this like um, almost like the frilled lizard kind of like Diablosaurus or whatever it's called, like that kind of thing. I was expecting that thing to come out with its shield, and no, it was never that. It was just the guy, just the scammer that he was facing, and so he tells Shout tells Enkaku that he wants to borrow his power, and he does. So instead of his, where he doesn't have a weapon, his body is his weapon, his suit is his weapon. He does this thing where he transforms into his suit, and then he invokes the power, and then he becomes super powered. The things that he's able to do are incredible. The suit is already amazing. The technology behind it, in the world, of course, is really cool. It makes a person superhuman. He was already shown to be able to do superhuman feats in episode one, and this just helps. The Inkaku power just ratchets it up. It supercharges him, and he's able to do even more stuff. And what I like about this so much is that you have the megaphone, the ergo gears, and with just those two things, anybody can become a huge threat and become a huge problem and is able to punch way above their weight class. And it's great because you have this like sliding scale of power. So instead of power scaling, you're playing with power scaling. The power scaling is on a sliding scale. You can be a human and have the power of a Megazord, or you can be a Megazord and have the power of a human, or your powers can be equal to each other, or whatever. And when I say Megahorn or Megazord, I mean Megahorn, but it's a little intentional. Um, and I'm really impressed by that. I think it's really cool, and I think that it's just like a wild, bonkers idea to do that. But it also like it does two things. It creates creative freedom for the show. If they want to give a guy a simple costume and have crazy powers for him to use, then he can do that. And then they can do that. Or if they want to give a person a crazy costume and interesting powers that they can use, they can do that. Or if they want to just have a monster appear and have a wild Megahorn attack, they could do that, and then it could be captured, and you can have either another Omegahorn or Megahorn fighting against it, or you can have a person fighting against it, depending on what you're doing. Um, and that's just super cool. Like now I'm thinking, like, could you give your power to your weapon and have all of whatever your plesiosaurus power into a sword, and then you can hand that sword to somebody else who's using a weapon that already has all this other power compressed into them, and it's just like a super powerful attack they're able to do. That's the kind of stuff that's interesting, that's cool, it's fun, and it works from a storytelling perspective because it gives you flexibility, and then it also gives you the ability to inspire thoughts in people's minds of, oh, how else can we use this? How can this be used in the show? And that's really good. That's really cool. And then the third thing is for toys, if you want to sell toys to kids, giving them a fun prop that they can use and they can imagine with these ergo gears, they can do anything. They can say, I am now Enkaku, or I have the power of Enkaku. I'm gonna, whatever. That's so fun. That's so smart. And like really, if it's got the clickability, you could just boom, oh, I'm in Kaku now, and you don't even need the megaphone, because that thing is bulky and expensive, I'm sure, whereas these little things are much easier to get, much more popular, and that's what you want to do. So like, I think it's very slick from a toy selling perspective, but even more so, I think it's a very good and bold move to make the storytelling so flexible, and I think that flexibility and the imagination that inspires, as long as there's good character work there to hook people into the characters, which like I was not expecting Dokaku to leave his whatever. I wasn't expecting the twins to give Dokaku to Shout, but they did. And that's something I'll talk about later. In a well, yeah, it's something I'll talk about later. But like that now is giving him an arsenal that he has, and Shout so far is a compelling character, and if he continues to be interesting, and if he continues to acquire more ergo gears in interesting ways, meaningful ways, that'll make things very interesting. Like I was thinking with these twins, they're saying, "Oh, we're going to battle you later when we're stronger hunters." How are you going to be stronger hunters if you don't have your uh, ergo gear anymore? You're going to get a new one. You're going to buy one. You're going to find one. You're going to what are you going to do to get another one? And then how cool will that be to see them have a conversation in the future for fun? Like they can, you get people sparring in these shows. It doesn't have to be bad guys trying to take over the world and good guys stopping them for stuff to happen and for these powers to be utilized. And also like, yeah, you've got the way that Shout rescued this girl who was taken hostage from this bad guy, the scammer that he was fighting, was so cool. And like people said, you're a superhero, and I agree. He is a superhero, and it's cool because this power, along with the suit, allows him to have these superhero-like abilities, and it's just really fun and cool to see. And he's got a little jetpack which allows him to float down and just save people. It's really very cool, and the way that Shout is like slowly moving towards being just a hero and a good guy, somebody who stops bad people from doing things with the power they have using his power, is very cool, very compelling. I think he could work really well as a protagonist, and I think the flexibility that is there for him to do different things is going to help sell the show and sell the story and make it something that people care about and something that people value a lot. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, please, so we can discuss this further. And also check the pinned comment for a link to my inspector's notes where you can dive deeper into this episode. Until next time, folks, this is MJ with Pension Inspection and something else, maybe, signing out.